Welcome to the Life Leadership Podcast with myself, Leila Singh, all things coaching, career and personal branding. This podcast is for ambitious career professionals like you, wanting to create a life of choice and freedom, to be, do and have more through overcoming limitations, to develop new perspectives and insights, and to redefine your success, be that in work, health, relationships, and so much more. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Live with Leila. My name is Leila Singh, and I'm an executive career and personal brand coach, and I work with career professionals, typically in the technology industry, who are looking to overcome their limitations and uncover their real potential whilst creating new possibilities and showing up as the best version of themselves, what I call life leadership. So the topic of today is, are you struggling to advance your career? In other words, there could be a number of areas you are struggling with. Some of the broader ones that I've mentioned now are feeling stuck. Perhaps maybe you're struggling with feeling stuck or even stagnant in your current role. Or perhaps you're being overlooked for promotion, for a pay rise, for that bonus. Or you're struggling with discovering new career opportunities. Perhaps you're just not feeling fulfilled and happy, you're no longer enjoying what you do, or you feel that you want to do something different, it's time for a different direction, and you just don't know what steps to take, what to do, what it is you really want. So what I wanted to share a little bit of today is some of the kind of angles of what I do with my clients. And I introduce my clients to the 5 steps, which are the Aspiring Execs Roadmap. And within this, there's 5 core areas that I've identified that once we work on these, we really hone and develop them as a framework to follow. And sometimes, by the way, there may be aspects of this that you've already nailed, and there'll be parts of it that you've never even considered. So we look at those 5 areas and we identify where the gaps are for you. And from that, what we then do is we work to close those gaps and to get more clarity, to develop the, whether it's the experience, the skill set and so forth, so that we get to show up as our best self in every possible area, so that we know we can get that visibility, that recognition, that career advancement, the reward that we're looking for, and the clarity that we need to help us and enable us to move forward. So within those 5 steps, I'm going to dive into one of them a little bit with you right now. And one of those areas, one of those pillars is about gaining clarity. And what I mean by clarity is having some kind of vision. Do you know where you're heading? Do you know where you want to be or where you want to get to? Do you know what's next for you when it comes to your career? And if you're watching this and thinking, well, actually, my God, I've never thought about that. Guess what? Many people haven't. It's okay. I have many conversations every week with people. And when I ask that question, a lot of people don't know. They don't have a clue, or they don't have real clarity. Maybe it's something they've never thought about, or perhaps they've kind of landed on their feet as they embarked on their career, and now they've kind of stopped. They're like, okay, I've done all of these things, I've enjoyed it, I've been really lucky, but actually what's next? And it's all good, it's all okay. The important thing here is to recognize that you want to have some kind of direction. It's a little bit like getting into your car or hopping on a bus or a train, right? When you do that, which I'm sure all of you have done one of those at some point in your life, you have a direction in mind, a destination in mind of where you want to get to. Now, it doesn't mean that that destination is going to be completely certain. You don't know what's going to happen when you get there, when you arrive at that destination. But you've got some idea of what that looks like, whether it's meeting up with friends and family or going to visit something or someone. it could be in multiple different things, right? But the point is, you kind of have, it's like going to a concert, actually. If you think, right, you're getting on the train to go to the O2 in London to go see a concert. So you've got an idea of where you're headed, but you don't actually know what that experience is going to be like until you get there. And it's a little bit the same with your career. So I'm not an advocate for saying it's got to be set in stone and therefore everything that follows has to take you there, because the reason I say that is because when we do that, in some cases, we may miss out on other opportunities that come from left field, which actually could have maybe taken us on a different direction, but a positive one that actually we would never have thought of, but we've loved, we've really thrived in, and something we're now thinking, actually, I never have thought I could do that, or I would have done that, but now that I have, I love it. So it's about still keeping options open. And it's a little bit like the journey, right? So if you're driving and you have a sat nav and you put your destination in, and you say, right, I want to go from A to B. And then you get in the car and start driving, and then there's roadworks, or a road is closed, or it's flooded, or whatever it might be. And you have to take a different direction. It's exactly the same with your career. So if you think of it in that way, you are allowed to adapt, to be flexible, and to take a different route. Okay, it doesn't have to be set in stone, but ultimately you still want to have some kind of idea where you're heading. And the thing is often we find ourselves embarking on our career. We kind of follow a particular path, or we land a great job, and then we just continue without really consciously slowing down to ask ourselves, what is it we actually want? And then it may even end up like Groundhog Day, where you're just kind of doing the same thing over and over and showing up day by day to do your job, but actually not really feeling fulfilled, not feeling that you're thriving, that you're growing, and so forth. So this is why it's important to have some kind of clarity, some sort of vision of what you want your career to look like or where you want to get to. And this, as I say, is just one of the 5 areas that I focus on when I work with my clients using the framework of the Aspiring Execs Roadmap. And this is relevant at any stage of your career. So whether you're just starting out or whether you're a lot more advanced, you're more senior in your role, in your career, it's still important to check back in with yourself, to slow down and ask yourself the question of, what do I really want? What direction am I heading? And is this where I really want to go? And if we don't do this, we run the risk of just drifting through life and not really consciously making decisions, not being intentional. And by the way, that's okay for some people. I'm not saying there's a right or a wrong here. It's okay. What you want to remember is the thing to avoid later on down the line is regret. You don't want to be looking back in 5, 10, 15, even 20 years time and saying to yourself, if only I just stopped and like asked myself what I wanted to do and being more intentional, gain some more clarity of what I wanted, I wouldn't have wasted the last 20 years. So with this, when we talk about vision and we talk about gaining clarity, we don't want to be drifting. We want to be intentional and have some kind of direction of where we're heading. And this will look like having an understanding, because you might be thinking, what does that even mean? So what I mean by that is having that understanding of where you want to be, the experiences that you want to have along the way. Now, for example, it may be that you're not looking to move up the career ladder and manage people. Perhaps you're looking to just keep growing and learning. So you want to take sideways moves and just develop and expand your knowledge. And that's okay too. But it's slowing down to understand what it is that you really want. And it's not about what other people want around you, it's about what you really want. So what are the experiences that you want to have? Is it the case that you want to be able to ultimately, lead a large company or a smaller company, or to manage people? What are the kind of things that you would like to be doing longer term? What are the skills and the knowledge that you're looking to grow and develop? What would you like to learn more about? What kind of experience would you like to gain that you've never had before? How would you like to develop and grow both personally and professionally. And this is really important. What does that look like? What is your investment of time and energy into your personal growth and your professional growth and development? And then ultimately having that direction, having some clear intention, the next thing for you to be doing is to looking at, okay, what is it I need to commit to be able to move forward, to make progress, to gain the results, and ultimately to get to where you want to be. Because an intention is ultimately like having a wish, right? We're intending that we're going to do this, this, and this. It's like saying I'm intending to go look for a new job, or to update my CV, or to go register with a recruitment agency. It's a little bit like your health. I would like to, lose some weight or get fitter and healthier, or whatever your goal is. That's kind of your intention. Ultimately, it's the commitment that you put on yourself that will get you the results. Is what you commit to actually doing. And there's always work involved. Okay, there's always work involved. It's not just going to happen. It's not just going to land in your lap. Yes, very, very rarely it might, but generally, no, it won't. And as I say, often when I've asked people is when I've had conversations with individuals that haven't really slowed down to think about, okay, what is it I really want? What are those experiences that I want to have? What are the areas of skills, knowledge that I have gaps in, that I would love to close, that I would love to discover, I would love to enhance? And what are your desired levels of growth? And ultimately, what levels of responsibility as well and management do you want or do you not want? So it's about gaining clarity. And that means potentially slowing down, giving it some thought, particularly if you've never have done, or you haven't done it for the last maybe 10, 15 years. And sometimes it might be you just don't know where to start. So this is a starting point for you to ask yourself these questions. And I'm not going to lie, it does require a deep and uncomfortable sometimes searching within, going within to really explore and be honest with what is important to you. Because oftentimes you'll hear people talk about the money. It's all about the money and the status, and not about what you're actually doing. Because then people create their identity from the job that they do. Most people do. And it's something that I would invite you to explore that too, and look at, is your identity a reflection of your career? And is it about the money and the role, the title and the status? And what level of fulfillment, what level of enjoyment are you getting from what you're actually doing? Because there's a distinct difference. So having that deep introspection, which, as I say, can be uncomfortable, is a really good starting point, and asking yourself some of the questions that I've mentioned here. And here's the thing, if you don't chase the money, but you chase the joy, the fulfillment, identifying things that both the things that you're good at, as well as the things that you enjoy. It isn't always the case that what you enjoy is what you're good at. It might be there's something you enjoy doing, but maybe you need to improve or develop the skills and the knowledge. Something that you love putting 110% into. What are those things? Because when you are able to show up and perform at your best and put 110% in, and you thoroughly enjoy things, you're thriving, you're growing, you're getting better at something, it fills you with joy, it lights you up, and it energizes you. And what that means is that you will naturally gain the reward and the fulfillment that you are looking for. The problem a lot of people have is that they chase the money, and they will essentially sell themselves for whatever money they can get, even though they will spend 8 or more hours a day, 40 or more hours a week doing something that brings them no joy, no fulfillment, and drains their energy. Slow down to that for a moment and ask yourself, is this me? Is that what I do? Because if that is something you do, you want to then start slowing down to, okay, I'm doing something that's paying me a great salary, but it's draining my energy, makes me feel miserable. I'm not happy in it. I dread Monday mornings. In fact, I dread every morning of the week. And by the way, the question to consider is, how is this impacting the rest of your life? Because believe me, it is. There is absolutely no way that it is not. So it's having a detrimental effect, particularly first and foremost on your health, but not only on your health, but on your relationships, on the way that you're showing up in the world, and also on your finances. Because you're coming from a place of lack, feeling that you have to do something that you really, really don't enjoy one iota because you're getting paid really good money. That is not a healthy place to be. And yes, it is possible to be in a role, to be in a career that you can enjoy, that does light you up, that does fulfill you, that does stretch you and enable you to grow. And when you're showing up in that place and in that way, believe me, the reward will come. And also remember that your past experience does not dictate your future, because often people think if they've had maybe the first few jobs or companies they've worked for in their career haven't been great experiences, the belief then becomes, well, everywhere's like that. And it really isn't. There are places where you can thrive, where you can feel joy and experience fulfillment, enjoy your job, and have great people working around you. And it's each to their own, because different cultures of companies work for different people. So it's understanding what's important for you, coming back to gaining clarity and vision on what you want. So that's my invitation for you today. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already done so. And if you enjoyed and gained value from today's episode, then do please leave a review telling us your key learnings and what you enjoyed the most. And do please share this podcast with your friends and colleagues so we can spread the word on life leadership, creating a life of choice, freedom, and new possibilities. Connect with me directly on LinkedIn, and if you would like to learn more about how we can work together, either DM me on LinkedIn or email.